Hey, Mighty Networks community. Welcome to another episode of MAT Stories. Today, I have Mark Marble from Castle Rock, Colorado here with me to talk a little bit about some of his greatest success stories and a little bit to tell us a little bit about himself. So without further ado, here's Mark. Hey, Mighty Networks community. I'm here with Mark out of Castle Rock, Colorado, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Yeah, so my name is Mark Marble, M-E-R-B-L-E, like the little round thing. So I'm down here in Castle Rock, Colorado, downtown. I have a studio right next to Wild Blue Yonder, so I'll give them a little plug. Peak to Peak Bodyworks is the name of our little gig. So my wife does all sorts of massage here, and I do MAT. This is our little studio right here that you're looking at. I've been doing it now for about 2.5 years. I had another career for 26 years prior that came to an end. That's a whole nother story in itself. And because of a couple of injuries, one to me, one to my wife, she went to an MAT specialist and was able to walk and run after one session, which actually that's a success story in itself. And I said, that's what I want to do. I want to do MAT. Whatever that guy did to you, I want to do that. And so I did the training during COVID, which was a great time to train because everybody was locked down. And I've been practicing right here ever since. It's been great.
And you have a very unique experience because you did all your education online, unlike people that kind of did in person. And we may get to that at the end, but for now, I brought you here for a reason because you had some stories that you wanted to share with the community, some of your funnest successes. So let's get to it. I'll get out of your way and just give us some fun stuff.
Okay. All right, great. So I had a lady come to me one time with a frozen hip. She said, Mark, I got this frozen hip. I have pain in my hip. Every time I wake up in the morning, I have to be very thoughtful about every move I make. When I swing out of bed, when I put my feet on the floor, every move hurts. Then her doctor wanted her to have a hip replacement. And so she said, Mark, I know nothing about MAT, but I heard that you do something without any drugs or without any instruments or cutting anybody open. So what's it all about? So I briefly told her what MAT was all about, and she said, okay, I'm in. So she came by and asked what the process would be. I said, I prefer to do 4 sessions once a week, get your body working as best we can, and then let's go to once a month after that. So she came in first meeting, like I said, I worked on her one session, 1 full hour. She left, she came back a week later. She said, Mark, I don't know what you did, but I feel amazing. I said, awesome, let's do it again. Worked on her hips some more. So she left. Then, Ilya, she never called me back. She didn't call me back for another appointment. About a week and a half later, I called her up and I said, hey, how come you haven't scheduled another appointment? And she said, because I have no pain. She said, I have none. I don't think about any movements whatsoever. I get up out of bed and I just start walking. I don't even think about it. I said, what about your frozen hip? She said, oh, I still have my frozen hip, but I have no pain. And really, that's all I care about. No pain. The pain is gone. That was like a year and a half ago. She said, I promise I'll call you if I have a problem. I've never heard from her. I don't think it's for any other reason except she doesn't hurt anymore. So that's one. Another one, 78-year-old lady, sweet as can be, little bit. I mean, when she fits on my massage table, there's room to spare. She's just a little thing, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, she told me that she had to take 2 Excedrins every morning when she woke up. 2 every day. So she'd get out of bed, she would be struggling to move. She would have to take 2 Excedrins. So I started working on her after 3 sessions, 3 1-hour sessions. She said she needed no more Excedrin. She hasn't taken any since. That was probably 4 months ago. She did the 4 sessions for a month. Now she just comes once a month. She is doing awesome. Just a little bit of maintenance every month, and she is doing great. 78 years old. It's awesome. Those kinds of things, they just make my heart feel good.
Yeah, I don't know how much, just to interrupt you. I don't know how much you've heard about like my career previously, but like I started working with 16 over demographics, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Like I had a lot of those clients who were
Yeah.
70s and 80s. Like the basic fundamental needs is all they needed for success. So I
Yeah.
am fully with you. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll let you continue. Go ahead.
Okay. So another one is another older guy, 58 or 59 years old, something like that. He was going to go on a 2-week vacation to Ireland and Scotland. So this guy had a stroke. He has a dog, like a security dog. I don't know, one of those dogs that helps him walk around and stuff. Not like he's blind, but just an aid dog, just in case something happens to him. And had a stroke, could barely even move. So he heard about me. He came by and explained what he was doing, that he was going to go on vacation, needed to just feel better. He just wanted to be able to walk for the 2 weeks, just a few hours every day in London and or in Scotland and in Ireland. So I bring him in here, lay him on the table. I'm doing the box cam on his legs, just checking out his hips first. And the guy, I could barely move his body around. He could barely move his body around. When he had to roll over on the table, literally it would take him like 30 to 45 seconds to roll over. It was painful for me. It took so long to do anything with him because he was just so stiff and so tight. But again, worked with him 4 weeks, once a week, and he went off on vacation. And he called me after he got back. Mark, it was amazing. I could walk around Dublin. I could walk around, I don't know what towns are in Scotland. Anyway, he could walk around and he said, man, I felt great. It was awesome. So then I didn't see him after that. So it was like a infusion of something really quick, just to get him over the hump, kind of like cramming for finals or something. But then cool thing was he called me about 6 months later. He said, Mark, I feel exactly the same way as I did before. Shuffling his feet along the ground, could barely move his neck around. And so he came back again, but this time just because he knew that it was good for him. So another 4 weeks, and now he's on once a month and doing so much better. So that's that guy.
I love, by the way, I love that you have a set standard of care that I fully appreciate, because I think a lot of people become so sporadic. So my second of interjection is I love that there's the setup of standard of care that every person kind of gets and they can kind of play around with. So
yeah. Awesome. Yeah. But you know what? You got to promote yourself too in this business, because one, nobody knows what MAT is. And that's what I'm going to probably share with you later to, the other practitioners, the encouragement. It's about learning an elevator pitch. It's about learning how to promote yourself, how to tell success stories, and to do it succinctly. You got to do it. You got to be able to do it fast, because people don't want to listen. Okay. So 2 more. The first one will be a young man, 16 years old. He's a basketball player. He plays for a well-known high school around in the area that is a super high level, high standard basketball school. Anyway, he was in a gym and he was working out and something happened and he hurt his back. I'm not sure exactly, I'm obviously not a doctor. I don't know all that kind of stuff. All I know was that he hurt his back in the gym lifting weights, and then he grew 4 inches in 4 months. So he's 6'4". He's a sophomore in high school right now, trying to play basketball, and has a bad back. And I'm trying to figure out some things about physiology, like when a kid grows that much, that quickly, what is happening in their body? Do their bones grow and then their muscles have to catch up, or, how does that all work? Anyway, so his back, his hips, his hammies were all just in pain. He just couldn't do anything. So I started working on him. He wasn't sleeping at night. he was miserable. He couldn't, he could hardly even move. He could hardly even do anything. Anyway, I started working on him. The same thing. Hey, my recommendation is just me. Come see me once a week. And after that, then we'll go to once a month. Here's what's interesting about him. His dad is a doctor. He's an MD. So this is kind of funny. So he was out of town. The dad was out of town. The mom and I were talking at a basketball game, and she was asking about MAT, and I was telling her. And then she actually went onto the MAT website, and she was looking at videos and checking out that information. And she said, okay, let's give it a try. My husband's out of town, and because he's a real traditional doctor, he MAT to him would have been like way outside the box, would have been really funky for him. So she's like, so I want to get my son into you, get some sessions in, show him that this is not goofy quackery or anything, and let you work on him. So we did that. I saw him like on a Friday, and then on a Monday, and then I think on the next Friday, and we had some amazing results. It was very cool. After about the third session, he could sleep. He could sleep the whole night through. And so dad came home from his trip. The mom told him about it. He was a little bit like, what are you doing to our son? And but he just said, you know what, you go for it. You just take care of him the best way you know how. And however, if he feels better, awesome. That's totally great. I'm not going to interfere. You just do that. That can be your thing. So anyway, I have seen him now. I see him every week, and basketball season has, I think, about a week and a half. So I think I will have seen him 9 times, once a week, 9 times. And then he's going to have a month off. They're going to have 1 month off, and then they're going to start like spring practices or something. And then he'll probably just go to once a month after that. So that one's really cool. I mean, 16-year-old boy, and what's really great was I was at a basketball game one day, and they had a massage table out, because they have physical trainers. They have, ice and, all the things to take care of kids. And I went up to the physical trainer and I said, hey, can I use your table? And I've talked to her, and she was like, yeah, you can, because I know that you are this young man's practitioner. She said, otherwise we probably wouldn't let you, because that would be like soliciting or something like that. So I worked on him in the basketball gym in front of a big crowd, and I got more like, what's he doing over there, than ever. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, his whole team was just kind of looking down, and I thought he would be embarrassed about me working glute medius, glute max, all those, big butt pushing ones, but he was cool. I mean, he was totally cool with it. And so I actually got some calls from that. So some people called up. So that was 16. Okay, the last one. This is my favorite. This one is my favorite right here. So this is my father-in-law. So I think it's okay. I'm not breaking any confidences on this one. So my father-in-law, 70 years old, he had 2 rotator cuff surgeries. So 5 years ago, he had 2 rotator cuff surgeries. I don't know how far apart they were, on his right shoulder, on his right side. So he came to me. He didn't come to me. He was at our house for vacation. I think, gosh, what was it? I can't remember if it was Thanksgiving and Christmas, or I don't know, Easter or something like that. Anyway, he was at our house, and I noticed that when he tried to comb his hair, he couldn't get his hand up high enough to comb his hair without his other hand underneath his elbow to push his arm up high enough to be able to comb his hair. And I said, John, what's going on? What's going on there? He said, oh yeah, my shoulder is killing me. It's in pain all the time. And my doc wants to do a 3rd rotator cuff surgery. And I just don't want to do it. That's not something I want to do. And I said, hey, John, I know I'm just learning. I know I'm brand new in the upper body module, brand new. I mean, I think I'd learned, what, maybe 2 units. I mean, barely even anything. I knew the very first muscles, scapular protraction. I think I don't even remember what it was, honestly. That's probably bad that I can't remember that, but oh well. Anyway, so I had a table at home, put them on the table, and I said, look, I need to open my notebook. I need to have this event. I need to read all this. I don't have it memorized yet. I don't know this that well. So he got on the table. Ilya, I worked on 4 muscles, 4. Serratus anterior, upper and lower. I worked on traps, clavicular and scapular. I worked on middle trap. I did, I think I did rhomboids, only because that was the order in the book. And that was really all I learned. I mean, I hadn't gotten to the muscle lists and like, okay, cam 1 is these muscles, cam 2 is these muscles, cam 3 is these muscles, all that kind of stuff. I was just going through the book. Ilya, he got off the table after 45 minutes. Dude, I am not exaggerating on this. He put his arm straight up in the air and he almost cried. Literally. He was like, what in the world did you do to me? I said, you saw it. I mean, and he said, and so we got a comb. He was combing his hair. I mean, just right then, he was combing his hair. He went golfing the next day. He hadn't golfed in like 3 years. He went golfing the next day. And so I see him periodically, thanks, whatever, different holidays. And every time I see him, he goes, hey, Mark, check it out. It's awesome. He was back here a couple months ago. I think maybe Christmas time he was back here. So, a month and a half ago, and got him in here, had him on the table, did a little tune up on him. Didn't need to look at my notebook. I knew exactly what I needed to work on. And so it works. Yeah. MAT works. It's great when you have success stories.
By the way, I want to just kind of note something that you've just demonstrated sort of stories from every point of your process of your learning, right? You demonstrate a story from, 2 units into upper body to a story where you're certified, like this journey of 2.5 years or however long it's been. And you have this much to share from all these different components. And I think that's the really cool thing, because I think some people will be out there being like, you got to do this for 20 years to get, it's like, no. Like I did the same thing you did when I was starting out. I had a friend of mine who just laid on the table, like had trouble running. I was like, oh, let me do rec fem, straight head. I just did that one thing. And they get up, they're like, oh, what did you do? So I know exactly what that feels like when you're like doing these things, and you may not always put those things together in your own head of like what you're actually doing. Oh, no. But then it's like you see the magic that you see the people doing this stuff, and you're like, well, it's helping. Like this is what's doing the job. Yeah. So you mentioned that earlier that I was going to ask you about this. So I'm going to bring this up now because you have a very unique experience to learning. Your experience to learning is only really the way that students are learning the process now. Any participants going through the system is really doing this online with some in-house components. And because you did this during COVID, you really did not even have those in-person components until maybe till the end. So if a new person is entering the program right now, this is my question to you, a brand new participant enters the program, what advice would you like to give them, especially since you have the experience of learning this online? What are some things that you'd like to pass along to the new people?
Well, I think what's great about online is you can watch the videos over and over and over and over again. You can just get them drilled into your head, what the movements are. The videos that I watched were older, and so bumpy camera work. It's a little bit awkward. I mean, the new ones. So I did a mastery class. I did a cervical class. And those videos are, I mean, they're short, they're succinct. Megan, I think, is in them, and she does an awesome job really quick of going through the muscle, the tests, DFMAT, the pick, and all that kind of stuff. So I'd say there's an opportunity to watch a video over and over and over again to get it, you know, get the muscle memory down. And then another thing, don't just do the minimum. Don't just do like, oh, I only have to do 5 hours here and then turn it in. No, do more than that. I mean, if you have a spouse, work on your spouse, you know, have the healthiest spouse on the planet as far as what you know, muscles can look like. Another thing that I would say is try different shaped bodies, different sized people. Like I had a guy 6'8", 6'8" on my table. I mean, he had his head in the cradle and his feet were hanging off the end of the table. Great big body. Smaller people, frail people, people that are hurt. So another suggestion is get different kinds of people to work on. And I'm available. I mean, I'm right here in Castle Rock. If there's students around that need a body, need some hours, I'm available and I might be able to help.
That brings me back to my last. So this brings me back to the finale, the last point, which is, so we could plug your business one more time. So Peak to Peak Bodywork, you're in Castle Rock, Colorado. If any participant, if anybody out there on Mighty Networks wants to reach out, they can find you on Mighty Networks. They can reach out to you. Do you have social media? Do you have Instagram?
Yep, on Instagram, Peak to Peak Bodyworks on Instagram, my Facebook. I have peak2peakbodyworks.com. So the website.
Great.
Yeah, I have a booking link, you know, to book appointments through ClinicSense. So, hey, plug them too.
Yep.
And yeah, there's all sorts of ways to get a hold of us. I'm
That's
not,
awesome.
you know, I'm the business owner, right? So I have to do everything. So to stay up on posting on Instagram can get kind of weeks between posting sometimes.
It's a work in progress, but I mean, I think that the important thing is that like people have a way to find you. If anybody wants to, like you just said, hey, Castle Rock, Colorado, if you were in the area and need someone to practice with, like even I know off the top of my head, I know at least a couple people in Castle Rock who could probably come and practice with you. So it's good. Like the more people we can connect together, the better this community grows. So having more people like yourself who are more open, who'd love to kind of help others out as you were probably helped out yourself, we love it. All right.
That's right.
So everybody, that concludes our episode of MAT Stories with Mark. We'll see you guys back next time with another episode, and hope everybody has a great day.
Thank you. Blessings.